Warrior with the hands, that's what I'm all about. Hunger in my eyes, vengeance in my mouth. They don't want no altercation. Situation gon' get critical. It's best that you be easy. The end gon' be biblical. Look, flow like a river. It's something like a miracle. Royalty in my veins, loyalty in my ways. Pay back in every breath, plus revenge in my heart. The truth in every word. Bring light into the dark. And I ain't never lukewarm. Shit, I blazing in the season. Got plenty food for thought. Just gotta watch who I'm feeding. Now been walking with them angels. So I guess I got this pistol for no reason. Niggas barely breathing, criticizing all my achievements. Won't make me weak. Nah, it won't make me slack off. These niggas baby fat soft. Better bear witness or back off. I be ripping shit like sackcloth. Dumb dogs all barked out. Behind me say I cup full. No room for emotion. So I pour my heart out. This road hard, but I intend to stay. And if it ain't UPK, then they in the way. My niggas righteous, they real, they down to something. Flow so deep, they drown a motherfucker. He say he in the truth, oh yeah? Well, this the home. And I don't hate them brothers, I'm just too loyal to my own. Plus what they believe, hard for me to follow. No rank me, no head, and I ain't leaving this body to live and sleep in hollow. So when they ask I'm UPK, you tell them absolutely. And I ain't trimming my ways for nothing, gotta execute me. Cause I can never die with my tail tucked between my legs. Shit I be thinking, watching my daughters tucked in their bed. They so smart, and Alana, she so beautiful, but they ain't like other babies, and they daddy far from usual. Now I'm missing cause I'm about my father's business. It ain't about this shit I used to do in that 98 Navy, the tan leather seats. See, without wisdom, this world make you weak. I found out that the truth was bitter, the lies are sweet. Tried everything, I guess me and Johanna had to meet. Now I make the blind see, and I make the dead speak. And teach both my little girls the day that they lie with a man, they better bring me bloody bed sheets. Chaos match the time, this Glock match my handpiece. And I ain't trying to take him out, but I will defend this house. Or take a check, 144 in that black trench on some hitman shit. Should call me 47, praying for Armageddon. Me and my soldiers dressed for the wedding. Fuck the fame, ask why, tell them I'm loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign, loyal to the king. I walk that straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king, the devils can't have me, bitch. I'm loyal to the king. That's right. Bring that hot flame, new bitch ain't loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign, loyal to the king. I walk that straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king, the devils can't have me, bitch. I'm loyal to the king. Bring that hot flame, you bitch ain't loyal to the king. Prepare slaughter, we bout to bombard they whole operation. Certified priest, prophesying this my occupation. This shit outrageous, they done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. It's UPK style, can't stop now. Father's warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise, and let the rich mourn till the sundown. Enough with this shit, about to make it hot, call it compound. This for my niggas, put the guns in the drugs down. Dwelling in peace in the Lord, call for the blood hounds. Try to decide my death, and got beside yourself. Swore drawn for what you perform, how you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and his dreams. I ain't got no love for them crackers, no, just cruel intentions. And in my father's house is spinning mansions. I got plenty bitches. Run the Avengers, this your death sentence. I'm talking slaughter. Now they shook from vicious words out this handed book. About to take these rappers back to school. My flow said and hook. They crossed the line, ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. The only thing sweet is the honey check. Righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow. And hand down death for them devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in the bench, I see hordes in a pitchfork. Go ahead. So please believe it. The white man is a demon. And I ain't gon' vote for them to free me. No. They beat us till we. They call them purple. That's why this knife till they broke like ceiling. You got this nigga on his knees. They wanna have peace. We screaming let this bitch burn at 1,000 degrees. I'm laying in the bosom of revenge. I told her I'd do anything she pleased as I squeeze on the double D's. Fuck you mean? I'm talking to you. Slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, slaughter. That they do not rise. Go ahead and feel the world when I ain't down for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. I'm talking to you. So war for your life. Your life try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils that they hit this still. Slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah.
The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got me handcuffed. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking back!
Slaughter, that they do not rise. Go ahead and feel the world when I ain't down for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. I'm talking to you. So war for your life. Your life try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear.
This is 144. The rep 144. The rep. There's a lot of code. But it's going on. You just go to the page. That's the page. 144. There's other music up there. Starts the same stuff.
Because I'm willing to fight against drug dealers. If they Muslim, if they Christian, if they atheist, if they Buddhist, if they should.
The YouTube page itself, that's all I'm saying. I have to look at the YouTube page. Type in 144 how many spaces. You see? Look on that. Is that everyone?
According to God, the white man is the devil. See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass, need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. everybody ain't with all that. Let bygone be. Boy, and she stop it, and she the prop. It's about to get serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed he up for parole because of the COVID. It feel like the host in this world that don't go together. Nowhere is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settled. Yeah, see the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop it, ass need the props. Like we all come together. Cause they say God sold up the world. God sold up the world, and boy, your ass need to stop it, ass need the props. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up and serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we'll pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop it, ass shit. Oh, I don't step, I'm silent for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent, I got it, let's go. I ain't taking no loss, ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with you. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell them we can't keep it slave. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got you, baby mother on high, got your baby pass through the fire. Ask you the prophets, that baby soul belong to the Lord. How dare you abort it? Devil will fail you, bitch, I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. Plus your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop it, ass need the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop it, ass need to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up, serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga.
Limu, let's get out there and help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Yanmar has what you need to give your land and lifestyle the best care. We know a job isn't over until it's done.
All I wanna do is run it. All I wanna do is run it. Get the money, tell her run it. Ain't no problem if you want it. All my niggas 100. All I wanna do is run it. All I wanna do is run it. Get the money, tell her run it. Ain't no problem if you want it. All my niggas 100. All I wanna do is run it. Main event, it's about to be a KO. Gotta build this nation, gotta stack a couple pesos. I'm about to paint a picture, gotta lay on. Already turned up, took a shot and poured a lay-o. Shorty say I'm the realest that she saw. I'm just trying to run it like I'm running from the law. Cause you know I gotta get it for my children. UPK, bitch, we in the field. Okay, I think it's time to level up. Them niggas ain't special, bro. Them niggas just regular. Me, I'm a heavyweight, trying to run in every state. Lot of soldiers, whole lot of rank. Watch me regulate. You know we taking ground, plus we ain't playing round. If the nigga ain't got the heart, tell him stand down. Hey, put your hands down. Please, somebody call the police. It's a man down. All I wanna do is run it. All I wanna do is run it. Get the money, tell her run it. Ain't no problem if you want it. All my niggas 100. All I wanna do is run it. All I wanna do is run it. Get the money, tell her run it. Ain't no problem if you want it. All my niggas 100.
All I ever did was run it. This one West, all of these ignorant fools are dummies. Get the fuck with all of that fake shit in that front. Got a heater like it's 100, bullets bouncing off of the drum like a punch. Pump my gas, smashing this rubber. Gun sound like a stutter. You knew that the bitch a hoe and you still had to go cover? Sellouts and undercovers, don't fuck with you fag fuckers. Got shooters flanked by the double. Look up, splash brothers. Whoosh. Now she knowing my name, what I'm stacking my change. Never package that cocaine, cause I don't touch it. Woo. Most my people gone insane, but I'm focused on making change. You a brother, so nigga, I won't fuck her. Better choose wiser. This shit look like MacGyver made these new visors. True scholars with this knowledge, yeah, my crew lava. You stuck on popping collars with your new dollars. I'm just trying to separate like I got two islands.
Run it, all I wanna do is run it. Get the money, tell her run it, ain't no problem if you want it. All my niggas 100, all I wanna do is run it, all I wanna do is run it. Get the money, tell her run it, ain't no problem if you want it. All my niggas 100, all I wanna do is run it.
All right, clap it up. I'm Officer Abraham with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West Harlem, New York, 125th Street. Got the mic, you know what I'm saying? This is the first, you know what I'm saying, the first scripture breakdown class that we have in our new building, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, big ups for that, you know what I'm saying? So any questions that you have, any questions you have on the scripture, anything you need broken down as far as the scripture is concerned, something you don't understand, something you read and you don't quite understand, you need further edification on that scripture, you can definitely bring it out in this class and get that question answered. We'll go into it, break it down for you, go all into it and turn it upside down, twist it inside out, so you make sure you get the proper understanding of any biblical scripture that you may have. If there's no questions, you know what I'm saying, if no one has any questions, I would definitely get into my topic. And this is the time to ask questions, you know what I'm saying. Of course, I have a topic to go into, but you can ask questions on or off the topic. No problem, we'll get it in, all right? So, any questions? No questions? No sweat? We'll get it popping. K out of war if you could. I'm looking at this camera angle, and I'm not satisfied with it. I don't like it. So like, if you could turn it, maybe, I'm thinking maybe to my right, it'll be your left. I may be totally wrong. Just the camera itself. That's not the other way. Oh, too much. There you go. Maybe that'll suffice. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that's better. That's better. All right, throughout. We're gonna start out like we always do, Zephaniah 2 and 1. We're gonna go into that, and then we're gonna get into the topic for the night. I'm gonna have K out of war read before we get into the scriptures. He's gonna read out of several books for me. You know what I'm saying? These, of course, books that you can find in the library, books that you can find. Well, I don't know if you can find From Babylon to Timbuktu in the library. They won't put that in the library. You definitely can find a book called When I Was a Slave. You can find that in the library. You can find also too, I don't know, Into Egypt Again with Ships. You might not be able to find that in the library. They may not want to, to put that in the library, but you can definitely find these books online. Amazon has, a bunch of these books online. You can definitely find them, and we're going to go into them tonight. So go ahead, K out of war.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together. whole nation not desire.
And we read the scripture every class. I got it from, I'm just mimicking the generals and captains above me, the officers above me. The same way they do, I do. You understand? And I heard General Hazayan bring this scripture out before most of his classes, is because we need to constantly have this in our mind, because blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are divided. Just like America is divided, you got your extreme leftists, and you got your right wing, and all these other factions. We are divided here in America the same way. Somebody at the door, okay? Cool. We're divided that same way. We're divided the same way here in America. Where you have black people from the north side of town that's against black people from the south side of town. You understand? You understand? Hispanic people, Shalom says. Right, so you have Hispanic people that, you understand, from the east side of town that will war and fight against brothers from the south side of town. When we are one nation. You got brothers that's fighting over blocks. You got brothers that's warring over territory, over streets, over properties and land strips of grass. You understand? In the hood. We as a nation, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are fighting against one another, I can't describe how we fight against one another. You understand? When really the real enemy is these other nations. It's the ones killing us. It's the ones that's putting us in jail. It's the ones that's oppressing us. It's the ones that's beating us in the street. It's the ones that's killing us and shooting us when we have cell phones in our hands. You understand? Those are the enemies. But we turn our aggression towards each other when this scripture is saying that we should come together. And to come together just means to separate. We have to separate from these other nations. And once we start to come together and show love to ourselves and show unity amongst ourselves again, then we'll start to show, we'll start to show these other nations that they can't do us the same way that they've been doing us all these 400 years here in this place. You understand? They have to start treating us differently because we're unified. That's why because of unity, that's why you don't see Chinese people getting drug out of their cars. That's why you don't see Chinese homes getting raided. That's why you don't see these other nations getting treated the way we do, because America knows that if he kicks in Fu Wan Kui's door, then the whole nation of Fu Wan Kui's are going to rise up against him. He's going to have a whole nation of Chinese or Japanese or whatever coming and asking for justice. The same way with the so-called Africans. You ever wonder why the so-called Africans from Nigeria and Ghana, they're over here blending in with so-called blacks? You understand? So-called African Americans here in America, but you never see the Nigerians get pulled out of their car. You never see them. They don't even get mistaken for Negroes. You understand? They driving cars and they driving, Africans got big trucks and rims on their cars too. They over here living, what they think is the American dream as well. I know I slave with plenty of Africans, and they pull up with they love the Nissan. The Africans love them Nissans, and they put 20s on them, 22s on them, and they put systems in them and play a whole bunch of rap music in them cars. And they never get mistaken for Tukey and nothing up there. They never get dragged out of their car. They never get thrown up against the curb. Their face gets slammed on the hood. You ever want to know why? It's because America knows that if the Africans get mistreated, they'll have a whole nation of Africans, whether it be Nigerians, whether it be Ghanaians, or whatever you call them from Ghana, or whatever country they're from, they'll have a whole nation of them
rising up, coming over here to America, you know, crying out in the streets for justice. You understand? That's why. But and when I say crying out for justice, I mean actually going through the whole process. They'll get support. They'll get monetary support. If a Nigerian gets arrested, he'll have 50 Nigerians outside of the jailhouse ready to bail him out, ready to show up at the court gate to support him and show the courtroom that, hey, it's a whole nation of us out here. That so if he gets treated unfairly, they will you know, be ready to do something about it. Now, I'm not protesting violence. I'm not promoting violence that we should you know, gather in courthouses, and when a brother gets treated unfairly, that we should do, you know, try to be physical. What I'm saying is that these other nations have the unity that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians lack. And that's what the scripture is bringing out, that we should come together. You know what I'm saying? That's what this scripture is saying. Come together, O nation not desired, because we are the ones that are not desired in this place called America. Now, I'm going to have Chaotic War read from a couple of books, right? The first book he's going to read from is it's called From Into Egypt Again with Ships. And it's written by Elisha J. Israel. And I don't really know if he's a brother or not. There's no picture of him on the book. But he's going to start right here where it says, right here, this paragraph. Right? You understand? He's going to bring out some information that Isupk brings out. We've been bringing out since 1969. And of course, we're scholars, man. You know what I'm saying? We actually do the research. We actually open up books and read out the brothers and generals and captains above us teach us very well how to go and search out information. And we have a whole slew of information that backs up all the things that we say, and backs up the truth that we bring out here in these classes. Go ahead.
Come. The year 70 AD is a focal year in the history of not only Israel, but for Edom as well.
And he's saying that this 70 AD was a very important time. Go ahead.
In this year, the career of the Edomites came to an end. And their career of assuming the identity of the Israelites began.
Right. He's saying the career. That's why you don't find the word Edomites as a nation on now being mentioned, because these people that were the Edomites, their career ended. You understand? Their career ended in 70 AD, and they assumed the identity of the Israelites. Go ahead.
Edom disappeared from history in 70 AD, the same year in which Israel as a nation was finally dispersed into captivity.
And what? And they were the nation of what? Read that again.
Edom disappeared from history in 70 AD, the same year in which Israel as a nation was finally dispersed into captivity.
We were finally dispersed into captivity in 70 AD, the same year that the Edomites stopped being named Edomites. You understand? Keep going.
There is no record of Edom being destroyed by enemies.
There is no what?
There is no record of Edom being destroyed by enemies.
There's no record of them being destroyed by enemies, by war, ravaged by, destruction or anything like that. There's no record of them being destroyed by their enemies. There's a record of us being destroyed by our enemies. You understand? Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans. You understand? Was destroyed and ravaged by another nation of people. You understand? Yeah, the Germans have a history, have a record of them being destroyed, their government being put down. You understand? Like other nations have record of them being destroyed and their governments being laid to rest and all that, and their lands being their buildings being destroyed and their culture being put away and all that. You understand? But Edom doesn't have any record of that. This nation of people that assume the identity of the Israelites, they don't have any record of them being destroyed. Go ahead.
There is no record of Edom being destroyed by enemies, disease, or captivity.
Right. So the now with them assuming the identity of the Israelites, even up to today, you have the so-called Jewish man that's assuming the identity of the so-called Israelites.
Right.
You understand? Claiming to be God's chosen people when he doesn't have a history of serving in slavery. He doesn't have a history of his homeland being destroyed. He doesn't have a history of his nation being destroyed. Keep going.
It seems as if they simply vanished.
Mm-hmm.
This is because when Israel was finally taken into captivity, the Edomites simply moved into the land.
They simply moved into the land. They pushed the Israelites out, and they simply just moved into the land because that land was not occupied. Go ahead.
One who is familiar with the prophecies concerning Esau's descendants understands that the Edomites must exist today.
They got to. You understand? They have to. They have no record of being destroyed, so they have to exist today. You understand? Now we're gonna clip that up right there, and we're gonna go to pull out a scripture, Revelations chapter 2, verse 9. Revelations chapter 2, verse 9.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 2, and verse 9, I know thy works in tribulation.
So the Most High is saying he know our works. This is referring to the children of Israel. You understand? He know our works. What are some of the works of the children of Israel? Well, the cell phone is the works of the children of Israel. You understand? Streets, paved streets is the works of the children of Israel. America is definitely a work of the children of Israel. You understand? We built this country. Our forefathers built this country off the backs, and we're gonna bring out another story, man. That's, oh my God, it'll bring tears to your eyes. But our great grandmothers and great grandfathers built this country. Those are the works. You ride downtown in any city in America and wonder, Salakia, how those great colonial buildings were built. It's the backs of your forefathers. It's the backs of our ancestors that built those great colonial buildings that still standing to the day. That take the hailstorms and the windstorms of all these major storms that come through, and they still standing. They don't rock and they don't topple over. You know what I'm saying? It's our people that did that. You understand? It's our people that invented the refrigerator so you can preserve your food past the day and don't have to cook it right away and throw it away after a day because it's spoiled. It's our people that did that. It's our people that that invented gasoline. You understand? So you can put in your car and drive. It's our people that invents weapons for the so-called white man. You understand? Napalm and all these weapons of destruction was invented by Israelites. You understand? These things are all the innovations you have here in America was invented by an Israelite, which another nation takes the credit for. You understand? That's been known history, man. That's known history. You can buy books on top of books where it tells you, inventions by blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that we don't get the credit for. You understand? You heard of Henrietta Lacks? You ever heard of Look Henrietta Lacks up? How they still curing cervical cancer in women off of her cells, off of her the cells that come from her cervix. You understand? And just here recently, maybe a couple of years ago, they finally gave her family a little piece of money for her still using her cells today, because cells never stop regenerating. Cells never stop reproducing. So Henrietta Lacks was for some reason, she was just a bad sister, that her cervix they using the cells from her cervix to cure cancer, to cure cervical cancer, man. And she didn't get the credit for it. She died poor. You understand? She died very poor. And for the medical field to have, such a innovative thing come from one person, where they made all these advancements in medical treatment off this one person, that her and her family should be so rich that they'll never spend all the money. Right. You understand? But just a few years ago, they finally recognized her contribution to the medical field. Finally giving her family and I think it was only about $10 million too. I think it was only about $10 million. When the government and the medical field has made billions and hundreds of billions of dollars off of this lady's sales, that they still making money off of today. Look up the story, man. I ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? Just look it up and you'll find out. You can pull up all the innovations that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have contributed to just us here in America having a better life and not having to work so hard and having, different types of technology. You can just look it up. You understand? That's our works. That's the works that we have done. You understand? And the scripture says that the Most High also knows our tribulation. You think that the Most High doesn't see the things that's going on here in America, see the destruction and the poverty and the drug addiction and the abuse and the injustices that go on here in America by the so-called oppressor. You think he's turning a blind eye to it? He sees it. That's why he's saying in the scripture, he knows thy works and thy tribulation. Keep going, K.R. Ward.
God, book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy work and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
And he knows our poverty. You understand? A lot of us grew up poor and in the ghetto, suffering. And really, to tell you the truth, you still poor. A lot of black people don't think they're poor because they work at Firestone, K.R. They don't think they're poor because they got a job making $20 an hour. You don't think that's poverty when you 1 or 2 checks from losing your house? You don't think that's poverty? You understand? Like, I think the poverty line starts below 50 grand a year. So if you don't make $50,000 a year, you are living below the poverty line. You understand? That's the poverty line right there. I know I don't make 50. You understand? So I'm poor. Even though it may seem like you don't getting things done and you balling, you a boss. No. You understand? He says he know our poverty as well and our tribulation. Go ahead.
For thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
And he knows the lies of the ones that are claiming to be Jews. We just read in the book called Into Egypt Again with Ships, where the Israelites were put out of their homeland. And another nation of people just started living there. Came into our homeland, And because they push us out, assume the identity of the Israelites, man. And we're gonna get more into it. We're gonna bring it out more how that race of people still exists today. You understand? That race of people is still around today. You understand? The so-called Jewish man is still here. He's still here right now, fighting with the Palestinians over there in Jerusalem, over there in Israel right now, fighting against Palestine. They both they in a in facto war right now against one another. You understand? And he says he knows the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not. You understand? We know he ain't talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, because if you go up to anybody that's not in the Israelite school of UPK and say, that's black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, and tell them that they the Jew, they'll laugh in your face. You ask anybody their nationality and they'll tell you, oh, I'm Baptist, I'm Muslim, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm Puerto Rican, you know what I'm saying? I'm Dominican, you know what I'm saying? They won't tell you that they from the tribe of Ephraim, or they from the tribe of Manasseh, or that they from the tribe of Levi, or that they are Benjamite. They won't tell you that they from the tribe of Judah. They won't identify as an Israelite. You understand? They identify as an American. They identify as Afro-American. You understand? Even in the book, at the bottom it reads a message to the forgotten Israelites. That's this book. Into Egypt again with ships, and this is a message to the forgotten Israelites, African Americans, in parentheses. That's what it says. Because forgotten Israelites, we wouldn't nobody know who that's talking about. You understand? He had to put in parentheses African Americans because he knew that, Elijah knew that, black people wouldn't know he was talking about African Americans because we don't know our identity here in America. We don't know that we are the real Israelites. We don't know we are the real Jew. Because it's blasphemies that another nation is committing by telling lies, saying that they the real Jews. Netanyahu and them over there saying that they the real Jews. Adam Sandler and Berman and Michaelwitz and all them is over there saying that they the real Jews. When they are not. They're lying. They're assuming their identity. Captain Zariak just battled a Zionist Jew, and he was squirming in his seat. He couldn't take it. He couldn't even keep his mouth closed long enough to get a response from the captain because he knew he was lying. He knew he was lying. Couldn't even go into the scriptures and prove that he was the real Jew. You understand? And now, that brother, I ain't gonna say brother because I don't know. This book brought out that 70 AD was a very pivotal time. And now we're gonna go into another book. This is page 84, and this is from Babylon to Timbuktu. Now, a brother did write this book. A brother, he was a temple scholar. His name was Rudolph A. Winter. And we're gonna go into Babylon, from Babylon to Timbuktu. This is page 84, the second paragraph of From Babylon to Timbuktu, and it's going to tell you why, you understand, 70 AD was important to blacks, Hispanic, to the tribe of Judah, and Levi and Benjamin. It's going to tell you why it's important to them. You understand? If you want to know about the other 10 and a half tribes, 12 and a half tribes, or 9 and a half tribes, you want to know about them, come to class. We'll get into that. You know what I'm saying? Come to class and ask your question about the other 9 and a half tribes. Go ahead.
In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem.
The Roman armies in 70 AD, that's what the important part that we didn't read about in this book, It's going into more detail from Babylon to Timbuktu. In 70 AD, the Roman armies captured Jerusalem, meaning they took that land over. Go ahead.
In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter.
With great slaughter, man. I mean, they just started killing. They started killing the Jews that lived in that area, man. That was still occupying. That was still staying in the homeland of Jerusalem. They put an end to the Jewish state. You understand? They put an end to and you know, a state is not the land. A state is the people. You understand? A city is not the land. A city is the people. You understand? What makes up that city is the people. What makes up a state is the people. You understand? What makes up a country is the people. It's not necessarily the land. You understand? It's the people that stay in that land. And our country, our homeland of Jerusalem, it was put to an end by the Roman armies under General Vespasian and his son Titus. You understand? And they did it by just simply killing every Jew that they found. Go ahead.
During the period of the military government of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. You understand? During the time of those military governors, where what they were doing was a certain area was a certain government. Like our area, our homeland stretched from some parts of Africa all the way into what's now Jerusalem. Some parts of Turkey was our land. Like our land was vast. It wasn't just, you know, that the Gaza Strip. It was called the Gaza Strip now. That wasn't the whole of our land. Our land was vast. It stretched wider than that. You understand? And they put military governors to rule over our land. And that's why it's saying the military governors of Palestine. Palestine was a part of our land as well. So it's saying during that time of those military governors, many atrocities happened to the residue of the people that they didn't just find and kill. The ones that were left over that wasn't just killed off, many bad and horrible things happened to those people. They were burned at the stake. They were hung on crosses. You understand? They were murdered. They were, you know. Just imagine the different ways we die here in America today, other than the gun. You understand? That's what was happening to our people back in during that time period. You understand? Where just bad things were happening. You understand? Keep going. God. During the period from Pompeii to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
You understand? Oh, during that time period, over 1 million Jews, they fled just to let you know how many people that was there. Like they put an end to a Jewish state with great slaughter, meaning they just started killing all the Jews. But it was still many Jews that were still left in the land. So those Jews that was left in the land, they still was committing atrocities against them. Meaning they were still killing them when they found them. So with that being said, over 1 million Jews fled from that land. You understand? Go ahead.
Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery.
They was fleeing from Roman persecution because the Romans were persecuting the slaves. They were fleeing from that persecution and those atrocities, Roman persecution. And they was putting them in slavery. You understand? That's a common thing. That's a common thing. What? You take it. No sweat. And they was fleeing from being put into slavery. And that's why, and that's we're gonna read in this book called When I Was a Slave. We're gonna read about the ones that got put into slavery here in America. You understand? We talking about the ones that was trying to escape slavery under the Romans in our homeland in Jerusalem and in our homeland in the surrounding areas. And we're gonna also read about you know what I'm saying, our people that finally were slaves, that finally, you know, were clipped up and put on those slave ships and brought over here after they went through the Middle Passage. The Middle Passage was such a horrible way to come over to a new land. It was so bad. Many people died on the way over from sickness and disease and just filth, just filthiness. Like if you stayed in filthiness for too long, you would get sick and die. You understand? That's why you have to, you know, keep yourself clean. You have to wash. You have to bathe. You understand? But they put us in such poor conditions that healthy people would get sick from being too dirty and they would die. Go ahead.
It's a lot of stuff on me. Also, so heavy with bringing out like historians recollect that before they seen the slave ship approach the coast of America, they smelt them first.
Right. They smelt the slave ships first. Good night, man. And the Christian pastor wants us to love these people.
Right.
That's the same people that the Christian pastor wants us to forgive and, you know, now treat with unconditional love.
Right.
Now, how can you love someone unconditionally when they still reaping the benefits of the transatlantic slave trade with your forefathers? Like, I can only go back, and I say this all the time, I can only go back one generation. I knew my father, but I didn't know my grandfather. Like most people, if you can go back to your grandfather, you're very fortunate. You understand? A lot of brothers and sisters here in America can't go back more than one generation. To say you knew your great-great-grandfather, oh wow. I have a lineage, but it's the lineage of my mother's father, which that's according to scripture, that's not the right one. You understand? I need my father's lineage.
Right.
But I don't know it. I know my father, and that's where it stops. So that's it. And a lot of brothers don't even know their fathers.
Right.
That is a bad way to grow up. That's such torture to see, you know, other people, you know, especially other nations, you know, to see your white counterparts run and jump in their father's hand. And you see sometimes you see old men come pick up your white counterpart. You know that's gotta be his great granddaddy or somewhere. It gotta be his granddaddy. This man barely made shaking. You know what I'm saying? And the little kid running, the little kid pulling him, and you gotta be his granddaddy. And I used to look at little, you know, little Edomite kids, and I used to wonder, well, man, I wonder how, you know, they must didn't grow up in the hood because he ain't shot. You know what I'm saying? He alive. You know what I'm saying? Like his granddaddy is alive. Like he must not sold drugs. Like how fortunate he must have been to not have to sell drugs or not have to commit crime. You know, I didn't piece together that this old man as old as he is because they have a lineage and they have a heritage and their people are secure. You understand? They have a security in their nation that I don't have in mine. So that's why I didn't know my granddaddy. I didn't know, you know, I didn't know my family like that. I didn't know my family line back like that. Go ahead.
It's a lot of stuff for me to bring it out, right? You're not alone. I know my whole mother's side, and I just asked my father not too long. I said, what you know about your father, my grandfather? Right. I know just about as much as you do.
Damn. Like your father don't know his father. Man, and I mean, I never thought my father passed before I could even ask him about his father. You know what I'm saying? I think my grandfather served in World War II, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I can't confirm it. You know what I'm saying? Because my father passed away before we could even, you know, I could even ask him about it. But you know what I'm saying? Like that shows you how into our generations we are destroyed to where we can't even go back. We can't even go back 1 or 2 generations. You understand? And that goes to show you too how the so-called oppressor had to destroy us that much. You understand? Because if my daddy could take me to meet his daddy, then what you think his daddy would tell me? We gonna see right now. Finish that out. We're gonna see right now what I think my father's father would tell me. Go ahead.
During the period from Pompeii to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Fled into where?
Into Africa.
And that's how you get, so-called, that's how we get the name so-called African American, because that's where we were captured from, because we had fled into that land, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. You understand? And it was over 1 million of us. So now you know how black people are. If it was over 1 million of us and we fled into that land and we living amongst them, what you think we doing while we living amongst them? We having children. We having children and black women are having babies, man. You understand? Because we fled into that land, but so when we fled into that land, we thinking we escaping the Roman persecution. You know what I'm saying? This was in 70 AD. Think about it. The transatlantic slave trade didn't start till what? 1400s. So you got from 70 AD, you got over 1,000 years before the transatlantic slave trade actually got rolling. So you got 1,000 years of reproduction, man. You got generations over there. Now 1 million becomes how many in 1,000 years? Who knows? Who knows how many? A lot. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot. So you got that many people that settled amongst, these African nations, all these African nations. So it's not just the million that they coming to get. They got a whole slew of, the product is vast now. You know what I'm saying? The demand is high and the product is endless. You understand? So 1 million Jews fled into Africa. Go ahead.
Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
Those slave markets, man, were full of black Jewish slaves, man. Really full of the black Jews, man. Full of black people. Full of the Lord's chosen people, man. They were never full of those people that look like the so-called Jewish man that's over in our land now. They never said that those people fleeing Roman persecution looked pale.
Right.
They said that they were dark. They were black Jewish slaves. You understand? That's who fled into Africa, man. You understand? And now, with that, like I said, I'm finna read to you what I think my father's father would have told me. This is a book called When We Were Slaves. And these are interviews from actual slaves, man, from actual slaves. And this was an interview, it was given by a slave. His name is Ben Simpson, Salakia. And I think this might not have been my father's father, but this might have been my father's father's father. Maybe that's about right. But this story right here, then we're gonna get some scriptures, man. We're gonna get some scriptures after this. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go into the scriptures definitely after this, and we're gonna definitely see, you know what I'm saying? Because you got the whole celebration of Juneteenth, right? The so-called the abolishment of slavery, 1863 was Juneteenth. I think it was somewhere June 14th, somewhere in the teens in 1863. So-called Lincoln abolished slavery, and he didn't do it because he didn't want to see slaves, because Lincoln was a slave owner. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really do it because of that. He did it for the preservation, of the Union. Like he did it because the South had free labor, and that was cut into the Union's profits. The Union had slaves as well, but they paid them a wage. The wage wasn't a living wage. You couldn't live off of it, but they paid them something. You know what I'm saying? The South didn't pay their slaves anything. You know what I'm saying? The South paid their slaves by giving them a place to stay, rags to wear, and, you know, maybe a meal a day or something like that. But in the North, the slaves got, you know, maybe 25 cents a day, maybe, you know what I'm saying? They got, just like you would pay a person in jail. You know, a person in jail, they make, you know, all them license plates and get paid like 10 cents a day, like 10 cents an hour or something like that. Like it's not even enough to live off of. But they claim to pay you a living wage, and that's how the North was, you know, back during slavery. So when Lincoln abolished slavery, it was bad for brothers and sisters up north, just like it was bad for brothers and sisters down south. America is not a good place for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. It's just not. So go ahead, K. Ottawa, read it.
An interview of a man by the name of Ben Simpson, interviewed at Madisonville, Texas. Interviewer not identified. Age of Ben Simpson when interviewed, 90 years old.
So he was 90 years old when he was interviewed. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the interviewer didn't want to identify himself. Why you think that was? Because for the interviewer to bring out this atrocity that happened to this man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He might have been called a nigger lover. You know what I'm saying? You might have found him beat on the side of the road, bleeding out, because no doubtly he was a so-called oppressor that was bringing out the atrocities of what happened during slavery. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Boss, I was born in Georgia, in North Cross.
Now, he's calling the interviewer boss. You know what I'm saying? The man is saying, you know, tell me about your life. He was saying, well, boss, he's still calling a guy that's just the interviewer that's just writing down what he's saying. He's calling him boss like he's still on the plantation. Go ahead.
And I was 90 years old. My father's name was Roger Stousen, and my mother's name was Betty. Master Earl Stousen captured them in Africa and brought them to Georgia.
He said his mother and father were actually from Africa, captured them in Africa and brought them to Georgia. Go ahead.
He got killed, and my sister and me went to his son.
So the father, the master got killed, and they went to his son. Go ahead.
His son was a killer.
Oh God, his son was a killer. You know what I'm saying? Worse than the father. Go ahead.
He got in trouble there in Georgia and got him 2 good stepping horses in the covered wagon. Then he changed all his slaves around the necks and fastens the chains to the horses and makes them walk all the way to Texas.
Man, he walked them from Georgia to Texas. Walking from Georgia to Texas and chained them up to the wagon, 2 stepping horses. I mean, meaning them horses, these stepping horses would be like him saying he got two strong horses. Like these horses knew how to step. They wasn't slouches. They were young horses. They were stepping horses. You understand? They was going. They wasn't, you know, lagging back. They wasn't going slow. They was stepping. They was 2 stepping horses. Go ahead.
It's like a 15-hour drive.
Yeah, that's like a 15-hour drive. So, you know, they walking for days. And now you're gonna see the toll that it has on the slaves. And you're gonna see how the slave master reacts to his product after the wear on his product. Go ahead.
My mother and my sister had to walk. Emma was my sister. Somewhere on the road, it went to snowing, and Master wouldn't let us wrap anything around our feet.
It goes to snowing on the way, and the master wouldn't let them wrap nothing around their feet. Go ahead.
We had to sleep on the ground too.
They had to sleep. This is cruelty, man.
Right.
This is cruelty on a level that we don't know about here in America. Well, we do.
That's right.
We do. Salakia. I do apologize for that. You know what I'm saying? Ask Eric Garner.
That's
you understand?
Right.
Ask George Floyd.
That's right.
You understand? Ask George Stinney. You know what I'm saying? Ask Emmett Till.
Right.
Like the cruelty of this oppressor is beyond your wildest imagination. That's why the scripture says, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. When the righteous are in rule, the people rejoice. You understand? Because of just being treated fairly. You understand? Go ahead.
So a good precept be just like iron rusted, so does his wickedness.
Damn right. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely. We'll pull that out first, okay? Go ahead.
We had to sleep on the ground too, in all that snow. Master have a great long whip plaited out of rawhide.
He had a long whip plaited out of rawhide, cowhide. Go ahead.
And when one of the niggas fall behind or give out, he hit him with that whip. It take the hide every time he hit a nigga.
He's saying it take the skin off you every time he hit the nigga. It take the skin off. Go ahead.
Mother, she give out on the way about the line of Texas.
This it right here. He said his mother gave out by way of Texas. She gave out. Go ahead.
Her feet got raw and bleeding, and her legs swole plumb out of shape.
So her feet got raw and they were bleeding, and her legs just swole up so big, like out of shape, like it's unimaginable. And her feet was raw and they was bleeding from walking so far. Go ahead.
Then the master, he just take out his gun and shot.
So just imagine you walking with your, first of all, your mother and your sister gotta walk. Then your mother feet get raw and her legs swell up and she start moving slow. The master come by and just shoots her. Wow. You understand? Go ahead.
Then master, he just take out his gun and shot. And while she lay dying, he kicks her too.
He kicked her 2 or 3. He said what? Go ahead.
He kicks her 2-3 times and say, damn a nigga, what can't stand nothing.
He said, basically, he shot this man's mother and then went over while she was dying and kicked her 2 or 3 times and said, damn, a nigga can't stand nothing. This is how this man's mother died. And he had to deal with it, man. You understand? He had to deal with it. Salaki. Is there somebody out there doing Come, we do. No. We'll get it right. We'll get it right. So he had to witness his mother get shot, and then, while she's dying, he gets to see, the abuse continue. You understand that floored me, man. You know what I'm saying? And how they could be so cruel.
Right.
How they could be so cruel to someone that's gonna, that's gonna work for free. That you're gonna make to work for free. Go ahead.
And will she lay dying, he kicks her 2-3 times and say, damn a nigga, what can't stand nothing. Boss, you know that man, he wouldn't bury mother.
Yeah, he said, boss, he's still calling the reporter boss. He said, boss, you know that man wouldn't even bury my mother? Go ahead.
Just leave her laying where he shot.
Just leave her, they just left her laying there. I mean, oh my God. You understand? Like, you gotta walk away from your dying mother, and just imagine she dying and she gotta see her family just get pulled away. That's a curse from the Most High, man. You understand? And your children shall be given to another people, man. And there shall be no might in your hand. And we couldn't stop it or do anything about it, man. You understand? Go ahead.
You know that there wasn't no law against killing nigger slaves.
There wasn't no law against killing nigger slaves. There's no law against killing niggas now. You understand? You gotta understand. First of all, the 14th Amendment, of course, abolishes slavery, except for being a criminal. That's why criminal activity is pushed on black people. If you won't be a criminal, they'll plant the rock on you. They'll plant crack rock on you. Right. The government will push poverty on your neighborhood that will force you into a life of crime, and then say, "Well, you got a choice." Everybody got that. Since I come into the truth, when I hear a black person saying, "Well, you got a choice," it make me want to grab them by the. It make me want to shake them and slap them, like wake up. Right. You understand? Because I know for a fact, it's plenty of brothers and sisters that feel like they have no choice. They backed into a corner and they need $3,000 tomorrow, or they gotta be on the street. And what you think they're gonna do? Now peep the scenario now. Peep the scenario. You need $3,000 by tomorrow. You're gonna be out on the street. You walk outside your door and it's 2 kilos of heroin on your doorstep. What you gonna do? And that's the hood in a nutshell. You think I'm lying? That's the hood in a nutshell, man. Every day, brothers and sisters come outside. They have to leave their mother struggling with their little brother or their little sister hungry. They go outside, and who is outside waiting on them? The cops is outside waiting on them with the drugs in the trunk. You think these cops ain't pushing drugs, man? Who you think got the drugs? How the drugs get to the neighborhood? Right. You understand? The cops is giving drugs to the plug, and the plug is bringing it to the hood. You understand? That's how they get there. Or the plug cut out, period. Cattle war, you know. Come on with it.
A lot of stuff I made. Say one thing, like draw into our communities, black people communities, Hispanic communities, when we integrate.
Damn right. That's right. Because before integration, you didn't have drug addiction. Right. You didn't have weed heads before integration. Right. Those people that were sitting at the Woolworths and doing them sit-ins, they weren't drug addicts. Right. They were not drug addicts. They were students. They were straight A students. They were engineers and agriculture, majors and all this stuff, man. Integration happened and it pushed drugs into the community, man. Go ahead and keep reading, brother.
He come plumb to Austin through that snow. Mm-hmm. He taking up farming and changes his name to Alex Simpson.
Because he was a criminal, he was a killer. And he got 2 horses in Georgia. See, he was a killer. He killed some people or killed a man. You know what I'm saying? So he got 2 stepping horses and some slaves and walked them all the way to Austin, Texas. And running from the law. You understand? Got to Austin, Texas, changed his name, and now go ahead.
And changes our name too. He cut logs and built a deep home on the side of the mountain. We never had no quarters. When nighttime comes, he locks the chain round our necks and then locks it round the tree.
Like a dog.
Right.
They built this man, they said he built a what?
When nighttime comes.
No, before then, they built what?
He cut logs and built a deep home.
He cut logs and built a home. They built them a home. You understand? He cut the logs out of the tree and cut the trees and cut logs and built a home while they had to get chained to a tree like a pit bull at night. Right. Go ahead.
He cut logs and built a deep home on the side of the mountain. We never had no cord. Mm-hmm. When nighttime comes, he locks the chain round our necks and then locks it round the tree. Mm-hmm. Boss, our bed was the ground. Go ahead. All he fed us was raw meat and green corn.
He fed them like dogs. He fed them raw meat. And you know it's a sin to eat raw meat. You understand? It's a sin for us to eat raw meat. They had to eat raw meat God at night, man. You understand? And this is what society doesn't want us to remember.
Right.
This is probably what my father's father would have told me.
Right.
You understand? Matter of fact, this is probably what my father's father would have told me, because his father would have told him. And because of that not being able to go back that generation, then you lose that. You lose remembering who did this to you, who your enemy is. Right. And if you don't remember who your enemy is, man, if you never learned that a snake bites, then you will walk into a pit of snakes. Right. If you never been taught that a bear will maim you, then you will walk into a den of bears. That's right. Keep going.
Boss, I ate naked of green weed. I was hungry. He never let us eat at noon. He worked us all day without stop. We went naked. That the way he worked us, we never had any clothes.
Man, he worked them naked. That was in. Oh yeah, okay. He worked them so hard they never had no clothes. They had to sleep on the ground at night. This is hell, man. Wow. That is, oh my God, that is unthinkable. You understand? Keep going.
He brands us.
That's the one I want to get to. Go ahead.
He branded my mother before us left Jordan. Boss, that nearly killed her.
That nearly killed her. He branded her. You know they take the hot sear and put it in the fire and brand like you brand a cow. That's what he's talking about. Check out how he brands the man's mother. Go ahead.
He branded her in the breast.
He branded her on her chest. You understand? Like a woman's breast is like that's a very sensitive part of her body. Right. You understand? That's just like, that's why he said it nearly killed her. Like he didn't brand her on the shoulder. Well, let him keep reading.
Then between the shoulders,
he branded her twice. He branded her on her breast, not on her shoulder. He branded her on her. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to paint the picture for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to paint the picture for you without telling you what it is. They didn't say they branded her on her chest. He said he branded her on the breast. You understand? Meaning this part. That's what he branded her. Then he branded her in between her shoulders. You understand? Go ahead.
Got a lot of stuff for me. That's like the spine.
Right.
Like hit somebody in the, they gonna feel that.
Right. And that's what he branded her in between her shoulders. Go ahead.
He branded all of us. My sister Emma was the only woman he had till he married.
Now, his sister Emma was the only woman that this slave master had until he got married. That's the only woman that the slave master had. Keep reading, K out of War. Listen to this real good.
Emma was wife of all 7 Negro slaves.
He had 7 Negro slaves by his sister Emma. Go ahead.
He sold her when she was about 15.
When she was about what?
When she was about 15.
She had 7 kids before she was the age of 15. You understand how wicked this and you want to know why he's homosexual? You understand? You want to know why all those fathers in the Catholic churches are pedophiles? Because this is why. This is why. That girl had 7 kids before the age of 15. How old do you gotta be once you start having, like, she had to be like 11. You understand? When she got pregnant with her first child. And she had to keep having it. He had to keep her. She had to be younger than that. Like, soon as he saw blood, he started messing with his child. And probably was happy because she came on early, like, you know, like a lot of young girls do. You understand? Like you know, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, a lot of girls come on at an early age. You understand? This is what Christianity has done to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Made us love the oppressor and made us forget this. Made us forget about this right here. You understand? Go ahead.
He sold her when she was about 15. Just before her baby was born. I never seen her since.
So now he got to see his slave master rape his sister, you know, day in and day out. Have 7 babies, and before the 8th one is born, he sells her pregnant. He never seen his sister again. Go ahead.
Boss, master was an outlaw.
He was an outlaw, right? Because he was running from the fugitives from Georgia. Go ahead.
He come to Texas and deal in stolen horses.
Then he came to Texas and started stealing horses. Like, it's like basically like stolen cars. He came to Texas and started stealing cars. Go ahead.
Just before he's hung for stealing horses, he marries a young Spanish guy.
He just had a jonesing for Israelites.
Right.
You understand? He had jungle fever.
Right.
Go ahead. Just before they hung him for stealing the horses, he married a Spanish girl. He married an Isupk. Go ahead.
He sure mean to her.
He was sure mean to her because she was a slave too. Go ahead.
Whips her. Because she want him to leave these slaves alone and live right.
Right. He marries her and she thought that she could influence him. You understand? And influence him not to beat them slaves like that and treat them slaves like that because, you know, he wanted to live right. Just the same way like these sisters want to marry these heathens and then want to try to, you know, influence them to, you know, be more, you know, I guess, go to church and, you know what I'm saying? You got a sister that marries a white man and then she thinks she can, you know, have him at the family reunions with all the niggas, with all the black people. You know what I'm saying? Bring Seth around her family and he's gonna be accepted. You understand? Want him to live right. And he beat the snot out of Isupk too, because she had to be reminded that you are property. You understand? And at the end of the day, all these sisters out here that's marrying these heathens are going to be reminded that this is not your nation. You are married to your enemy. You're sleeping with the enemy. And at the end of the day, you the nigga. You understand? And when it comes down for him to choose between you and his nation, guess what? You're going to be chained up to the tree.
Right.
You understand? Go ahead.
Bless her heart.
He said, bless her poor Christian heart. Bless her Christian heart. You understand? Trying to get that crooked man to be straight. You understand? That's why the scripture said, what the Lord made crooked, who can make straight? You understand? Go ahead.
She's the best gal in the world.
She the best, even he saw, she the best gal in the world. Go ahead.
She cried and cried every time master go off.
She cried and cried every time master went upside her head. She cried and cried. Go ahead.
She let us loose. And she fed us. She let us loose and she feed us good one time while he's gone.
Oh my God. She let him loose and she fed him good one time while he was gone. Go ahead.
Missy Selena, she turned us loose and we washed in the creek close by.
And finally got a bath. They finally got to wash themselves when he married an Issacharite sister. Years and years later, after the sister had been, raped and exploited for years and sold off, you know what I'm saying? Finally, he marries the Issacharite, and before he got hung for stealing the horses, she let him loose and fed him good and let him wash in the creek. Go ahead.
She just fastened the chain. She just fastened the chain on us and give us great big pot of cooked meat and corn.
Oh, finally got a cooked meat. Finally got a piece of cooked meat in years. I bet you their brains, they didn't know what to do. Go ahead.
And up he rode.
And up he came. He came up while all this was going on. Go ahead.
Never says a word, but come to see what us eat. He pick up, he whip, and whip her till she falls. If I could have got loose, I'd kill her. I swore if I ever got loose, I'd kill her. But before long, after that, he fails to come home, and some people find him hanging to a tree.
There you go. You understand? That's why he was hung. You can stop right there, K.R. He was hung for being an outlaw and robbing and stealing horses, man. You understand? Now go to Lamentations 4:18. Lamentations 4:18. Without the Israelite school, the universal practical knowledge, we wouldn't even remember this. We wouldn't have the wherewithal to go back and look at books like this called when I was a slave. Right. Because America wants us to forget about this. Right. America wants us to say, well, how can you be a post-racial era if you keep remembering the tragedies of what happened to us as slaves? And the question comes back to how can you have us forget about what you've done to us in order to, justify you feeling guilty or you having to answer for what you've done? You understand? That's the whole point of making us to forget about it. Because in us forgetting about it, we may charge their children. We may charge Becky. We may not want to have our sisters. Venus and Serena may be ostracized for marrying white men. You understand? They may not be front runners in what society would call a trendsetter. You know what I'm saying? It may not be a trendsetter to marry a white man. It may not be, the status quo to do something like that, and they may not get the fame, and they may get a bunch of backlash. They may get a bunch of Twitter feeds, and a bunch of followers may drop from following them because they married the oppressor. You understand? Because we remember what our ancestors went through. The harshness of it, though. The harshness of what they went through is devastating. Go ahead. I'm a slack. I'm gonna need the time check too. My phone just left.
If I could bring out a person,
go ahead.
If I could, so that's what you bring. It's like the old man bring out the story and everything, right, about our history, right, and we don't have people over us that bring it out on a regular like this, like UPK. If I could bring out a person, I come from up north, right? I come down here, right? It's diverse up north. It's still racist, but it's diverse. I come down here, I start working. I'm working with this older gentleman, right? And we work with this Edomite man, right? I was called his name Ray. And me and the older black gentleman, he in the 60s, right? And I'm like, in my team. I'm like, yo, man, Ray cool. He looked dead in my face and said, Ray not cool. Ray white.
Right. Big up. And I used to get caught like that all the time too before I came into the truth. Because I was a musician in the world. And white people that gave me some of the biggest checks I ever seen in my life. You understand? I used to entertain a lot of white people, a lot of politicians and hobnob doctors and all that stuff. And when older cats, older black cats used to talk to me about, you know, hey man, don't trust him, don't get too close. I used to be like, man, what you talking about, man? Hey, you know what I'm saying? What you talking about? Keith is all right, man. You know what I'm saying? They used to be like, man, don't you trust them people, man? Them people, those people are you remember, I had my brother give me a video back in the day called Eyes on the Prize. And that's when I finally got my first glimpse of how cruel, you know, white the oppressor was. Because during the civil rights movement, how they sick the hoses on the dogs on us, and they were all young people, young children, and they didn't have any mercy on them, beat them, and all they was doing, you know, was they wasn't fighting back. All they was doing was just trying to cover themselves up. And I'm thinking, well, even when my cousins taught me how to protect myself, they taught me that if I'm in a fight and the cat is down on the ground, like the fight's over. The fight, you done. You know what I'm saying? Like he done. He ain't fighting no more. To stop fighting. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't have that type of you know, honor. When it come to us, they stick the dogs on us. And I seen one picture where a cop let his German Shepherd bite the crotch. I mean, you knew that dog had the brother by a precarious area because he just folded. You know what I'm saying? And he was on the ground, and the dog was shaking and dragging him basically by his privates. You understand? And he was bleeding, and the cop was just he wasn't doing anything. You know what I'm saying? The brother was posing no threat. And that's what we need to remember, because that attitude has not left America.
That's right.
It's not left. You see that when they storming the Capitol. Right. You see that on the border. Right. You see that on the border with the Isupk brothers. That attitude has not left. You understand? And they don't want us. And what's so bad about it? You see. Just look at these Juneteenth celebrations. Look at them and see how many white people are infusing themselves in this celebration. You see how many white people, and you're going to think to yourself, how in the world are you okay with being amongst these people that's remembering the atrocities that your people have done to them? How do you feel safe? It's because they've already made us forget this. Right. They've already made us forget about all of this. You understand? Go ahead and read that scripture, brother.
God, Book of Lamentation, chapter 4, verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our street. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled.
Man, we can't go in our streets. And it's getting worse and worse and worse, because the so-called oppressor knows that our days are at an end. Meaning our days of the Most High not avenging us is at an end. The days that they get to do what they want to do to us, that's coming to an end, man. That is coming to an end very swiftly. That's right. And they are starting to see, I better get it in while I can. You know what I'm saying? We better. It's almost like a dog. We're representing the dog in this scenario, where your dog is getting big. The dog is getting bigger. This dog is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you notice this dog is getting huge. And you thinking to yourself, well, this dog is getting a whole hell of a lot bigger than me. After a while, I'm not going to be able to control this dog. So you start to chastise the dog more often for little things. You understand? The dog don't sit down. So you tell the dog to sit down. So the dog don't sit down. You know what I'm saying? You really get upset. You have to teach this dog. You have to break this dog. It's almost like, you know how they break a horse. A horse is so much larger than the people that ride the horse. Is the tactics that they use to break the horse are so extreme, because they have to, because this horse can, a horse can turn around and knock you clean across the room. You seen one of them horses kick somebody? You know a horse can kick you and kill you. You will die. If a horse kick you in your chest, you could die. In your chest, not in your head, in your chest, you could die. You understand? So you have to use extreme tactics to break this horse, because this horse is so strong, he could kill you. You see what I'm saying? So the so-called oppressor is using all his tactics to try to break us down now, because hey, look, the days are coming near. The days of our days are fulfilled. Our captivity is up, man. The time of our deliverance is come. You understand? He knows it. You understand? Drop that. Go to Ezekiel 35:5. Go to Ezekiel 35:5.
Come. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
By the what?
By the force of the sword.
Meaning this oppressor has hated us so much that he's killed us. And that's always been the MO of this oppressor. He's hated us to the point to where he hasn't had any mercy on us. He hasn't had any compassion on us. He just wants to kill, murder, kill. Where he didn't even have any compassion on Tamir Rice.
Right.
A little kid. Now imagine a little kid. Imagine you got a little kid has a gun, and say the gun is real. He's a little kid. Like, what does a little kid know about how to cock it back and how to, you know what I'm saying? You should proceed with caution. I'm not saying that he shouldn't proceed with caution, but this is a child. You know what I'm saying? This is a child. Go ahead.
A lot of the officer gets first in black and lonely. Mr. Lonely stayed on the police force for 3 years after he murdered Tamir Rice.
And felt good about himself. Wasn't allowed to feel any type of remorse about what he's done. And General Muhammad brought it out in class, like it took him 0.9 or something, 1.9 seconds to pull out his gun and shoot Tamir Rice dead. Like, he didn't pull up and ask no questions. It was like he was apprehending a known criminal that was on and had already popped off shots. You know what I'm saying? That's how you treat a criminal that's already, discharged a firearm. You come up guns blazing. You know what I'm saying? He didn't ask Tamir Rice nothing. He pulled up, used his car as a shield, and pop that little boy. 9 years old, I think. 9 or 12 or something. 12 years old, man. And he's had such a perpetual hatred for us and has killed us with the force of the sword, man. Right. Keep going.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live.
Therefore what?
Therefore, as I live.
The Most High saying, therefore, as I live, which the Most High doesn't have a start or an end. The Most High said, as long as I'm around, therefore, as I live, go ahead.
Said the Most High power. I will prepare thee unto blood.
I mean, I'm getting you ready. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm letting you go. I'm letting you go so you can get strong, so you can get, you know what I'm saying, get yourself ready for this destruction that I'm about to hit you with. As long as I live, I'm preparing you for this ass whooping salakia that I'm about to give you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord is preparing now unto blood. Go ahead.
And blood shall pursue you.
And blood shall pursue you. You understand? You want to know why there's never been no peace in the Middle East? Why there'll never be peace in the Middle East? Why Palestine is going to fight against Israel forever? You know what I'm saying? Why these other nations going to start to get involved in it? Because Palestine has allies. Iran is allies with somebody. I forgot who they're allies with. I think it's the Palestinians. You know, Iran itching to get into this, and Iran got allies. You understand? With Russia. Man, this is finna be ooh wee. Donald Trump ain't gonna have time to focus on that Space Force, man. After a while, the U.S. gonna get pulled all the way into this because Israel's ally is the United Nations, man. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get pulled all the way into this too. They getting pulled into it now. You understand? Go ahead.
Since thou hast not hated blood.
Since you didn't hate blood, like the so-called oppressor loves blood so much till he won't even cook his meat. He gotta eat his meat bloody. You know what I'm saying? That's how much he loves blood. Till he eat blood. They drink blood. Go ahead.
Even blood shall pursue thee. So
blood gonna pursue you. You know what I'm saying? Go to Psalms 58:3. The things that's happened on this earth to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians has totally shaped this society, and now you have this society flourishing, or of course it's coming to an end, but you have this society rejecting the ones that have brought it to its pinnacle, its height. You know what I'm saying? Black people were used to build this great place called America, build this economy, you know what I'm saying, push this place to the #1 superpower on the earth. And now that we've done that, it's rejecting us, telling us, go back to Africa, go back where you come from. You know what I'm saying? We still the first five and the last ones hired. We still the ones that are rejected on this earth, man. We still the ones that's getting the short end of the stick. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
God. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb.
The wicked are estranged from the womb, man. You understand? They are estranged from the womb. Go ahead.
They go astray as soon as they be born.
Man, they go astray as soon as, no sooner than these oppressors get born, they start to do all kind of mischievous things, man. They disobey their parents as soon as they can talk good. You understand? They start to before they can talk, before they can say baba and mama good, they start ignoring their parents. You know what I'm saying? They start, it's just crazy how rebellious that they are as soon as they be born, man. Go ahead.
Speaking loud.
Speaking what?
Speaking loud.
Man, hey, look here. That's the first thing oppressors learn how to do is lie. You did that? No? I seen videos where the Edomite baby be full of crayon mark, full of markers all over his face, all over the walls and everything. The mother come in and say, Ethan, did you mark all over the wall? No. Why are there markers on the wall? I don't know. And then, so I seen one video where the baby marked all over the wall and the dog, and the mother said, well, who did it then? And the baby said the dog did it. The baby blamed it on the dog, just lying. And they think it's funny. They think it's funny. You know what I'm saying? It's not funny. It goes along exactly with what this scripture is saying. They go estranged as soon as they be born, speaking lies, man. Go ahead.
Verse 4. They're poison.
They're what?
They're poison.
They're what?
They're poison.
And you know how they poison us? They poison us with not remembering this. They want to poison us. They want to poison us with smooth words and say, well, we live in a post-racial era. That like remembering this is going to cause you to be upset, and you can't be upset to get past it. That's poison.
That's right.
That is poison. The poison of Christianity.
That's right.
Saying that, Caesar Borgia putting up a white Christ and brainwashing you with a white Christ And then when we finally figure out or finally get the truth that Christ is black, then they say, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. We love the love of the Lord. They tripped me out, man. It's poison. It's poison to us because while he was white and everything, that's what matters. That's what matters, because it causes you to forget this. If the oppressor, if Christ is white, you gotta forget this, because if Christ is white, you remembering this, it's gonna cause you to be aggressive towards your oppressor. And Christ is white. It's the same color as your oppressor. So you have to put this out of your mind so you won't attack your oppressor. So you won't attack the oppressor. So you won't charge the oppressor with the crimes that he's committed. Right. So you have to forget this history. Now that it comes out that Christ is black, that Christ, definitely was not white. Right. Now there's a chance you may remember this. So now what they say, everybody, love conquers all. And all the songs is about love. Every love is just oozing through the commercials. You know what I'm saying? The charity commercial. The United Way. Love is needed in America. For 19 cents a day, you can show how much you love poor people. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's all about love now. It's all about love now, because if it was not about love, then you may say, well, wait a minute. One of these people that I read in this book when I was a slave, these might be one of my forefathers. This is my family right here. As a matter of fact, this is my family. These are my people that you've done this to, and you gotta pay. You gotta pay. And since you gotta pay, we may turn to the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge and find out how we make them pay. You understand? And you know what the UPK gonna say? Stop eating pork. That's how you make them pay. You know what I'm saying? Stop celebrating these holidays. And before you know it, America goes bankrupt. Christ comes back with 200 million angels and puts them all to death, and the streets of America runs red with their blood. That's what happens, man. And they know it. So now they got to convince everybody to love, and more love, and more, and love, and love, and love. Time check. Okay. Where we?
Psalms 58.
They're poison, right? Keep going.
Book of Psalms, 58, verse 4. They're poison, like the poison of a serpent.
Yes. Go ahead.
They are like the death adder.
They are like the death adder, man. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. Like the death adder, like a death adder. An adder is a very poisonous snake, man. You understand? But snakes are death. That's why they lick out their tongue so they can feel vibrations. You understand? A death adder is a snake, a very venomous snake, that if it bit you, you got about an hour or two to get to the nearest hospital to get some anti-venom in you before you be sprawled out, stretched stiff as a board, dying of suffocation and all your organs swelling up inside of you. You understand? And that's what the oppressor is like, a death adder. Right. Meaning when you cry, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, you think the oppressor is hearing that? They like a death adder, man. You understand? They like a snake that's gonna bite you, that doesn't hear you cry out, that doesn't hear your cries of, compassion and mercy, and the love of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? In these Christian churches, the oppressor don't hear the love of Jesus in these Christian churches. He don't hear that. All he hears is kill, kill, kill. That's all he hears. You understand? He's gonna bite anyway. He's gonna strike anyway. Keep going.
They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear.
That stoppeth her ear. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Which will not hearken to the voice of charmers.
That will not hearken to the voice of charmers. That's why adders are not coming out of that little basket where the snake charmers is doing the little thing. Adders they do that with cobras. They do that with different, mainly cobras. I'm thinking cobras can hear more than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because adders don't, an adder ain't trying to hear none of that. An adder don't hear none of that. The adder stops up his ear. The adder don't hear that. So while that is going on, the adder trying to get out of there and bite you. You know what I'm saying? So drop that. Go to Nahum 3:1. Nahum 3:1. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 1. And now while blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and this so-called Juneteenth thing, that abolish of slavery thing, it's gonna bring every African Mumubutu Hootie tribe. They're gonna try to they sell all the dashikis and all them African kente cloth, the muumuus that all the sisters be wearing with the kente cloth on it. Boy, they sell the hell out of them things, boy. They sell them jokers, boy. They get rich off of black people in the hood, and mainly these celebrations go on in the hood. It's straight up in the hood, in the projects, and they have these celebrations, and they sell all those little canes and necklaces, and they have all the African everything you want to see that's African is going to be at the Juneteenth celebration. I'm telling you, you go to one and you will see, you'll be like, well, damn, I thought this was abolishing slavery. This seems like it's celebrating Africa. Like, what in the hell is going on? This is every kente cloth known to man is up in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all they celebrate is African triumph. That's what's going on at the Juneteenth celebration. And which again, makes you forget about this. Makes you forget about the Middle Passage. Makes you forget. They'll have some pictures of the transatlantic slave trade, but they'll incorporate it all into being African, which we are not African. That's right. You understand? Those African countries, Mali, Songhay, and it was another one. Mali, Songhay, and Ghana, they became rich empires because of the transatlantic slave trade. That's right. You understand? Selling us for spices and rum and guns. Right. You know what I'm saying? To the so-called oppressor. Right. Go ahead. God, book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. Woe to who? Woe to the bloody city. Meaning destruction is going to come to these cities, man. To the bloody city. Woe to these cities and all of the cities here in America. Woe to New York. Right. Woe to Atlanta. Right. You understand? Woe to Austin, Texas, and Houston. Right. You know what I'm saying? Woe to all these cities. Go ahead. It is all full of lies. They're all full of lies. Go ahead. And robbery. Why? Because they robbed the children of Israel of our rightful place. That's right. Here in America, we should be ruling this place over here. That's right. The Native Indians, matter of fact, the Native Indians should be ruling this place over here, man. Mm-hmm. This is the Native Indians' land. That's and right. They should be in control of this place over here. But these cities are built with lies and robbery. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. The prey, the part is not. The prey, we are the ones that's being preyed upon, and we can't even leave this place. We can't even get away from the predator in this place. Go ahead. Verse 2. The noise of a whip. The what? The noise of a whip. The what? The noise of a whip. Man, that's why they call them the cracker. Right. It's because the crack of that whip, that noise, that crack, that's the noise that it's talking about. The noise of the whip. Go ahead. And the noise of the rattling of the wheels. The noise of the rattling of the wheels. because that patty roll, that's what used to scare the slaves while they was trying to escape or even going to fulfill errands for the slave masters. Those patty roller wheels, is a song in here, is a song in this book called it's called Run Nigga Run. The patty roll gonna get you. Run nigga run. You better run away. Man, I wish I could find it. Here you go. It's called, this is what the song is. Run nigga run, the patty roll get you. Run nigga run, the patty roll come. Run, watch nigga watch, the patty roll trick you. Watch nigga watch, he got a big gun. That's what the song is. Go ahead.
It's a lot of sort on me. They sound like the police. They call it patty wagon.
Yeah, it's the patty wagon. But see, back then it was a wagon, and the patty roll was the rolling. That's what it's talking about, those chariot wheels. Because the wagon wheels, that's what you used to, that's what they heard rolling up on them. And it always, like right now, what we feel, what black people feel now when you out on the street. Yeah, the lights, when them, man, hey look, let me tell you something. When them lights come behind you, it's like a heat. It's like the lights emit heat. I feel the heat. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I know, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's like heat behind you, man. Like the lights is like, it's heat behind it. But back then, they didn't have lights inside. It was the noise of the wagon wheels. It was the patty roll. You understand? Go ahead.
Come, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horse, and of the jumping chariot.
And of the jumping chariots, man, because that's what was coming. That's what was coming to take you away, either take you away to hang you or take you away to oppression. Right. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 3, the horse was lifted up, both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain.
And during the time when this was written, they were killing blacks, Hispanics, and Native. They were killing the children of Israel in captivity under oppression the same way, with the force of the sword, with swords and spears and weapons, and just like they're doing today, man. Right. Just like they're killing us with the tasering us to death, shooting us, you know, the billy clubs, all that they do. Drag one brother 3.5 miles behind a truck, man. You understand? They killing us all, just like this. Nahum is describing different ways where brothers and sisters were getting killed. We doing it the same. We suffering the same way. Time check. I'm gonna pull one more and then we're gonna get out of here. All right. Go to Habakkuk 2:12. Not Salaki. Amos. Go to Amos 1:11. That's a better one. That's a better one. Amos 1:11. And I'm pulling these scriptures out. To make sure that you know what I'm saying. This was a scripture breakdown class, but we've gone into tonight how this time that we remember. Well, it's a so-called holiday called Juneteenth, which is not in the scriptures. We don't celebrate Juneteenth, but of course the so-called white man has allowed niggas to make Juneteenth a celebration of the abolition of slavery, the abolishment of slavery. So, you know, with that being said, slavery was you know, the truth about slavery being abolished is that, you know, slavery was never abolished. You know, we still oppressed, and also too with slavery was never abolished because you have the exception of being a criminal. You understand? You can still be put into slavery, which is jail, if you are a criminal. And that's why crimes is pushed on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's pushed on you systematically to be a criminal through your living situation, the poverty in your neighborhood, through the lack of not having everything you need to survive comfortably. Is pushed on us to be criminals here in America. So with that celebration of the so-called Juneteenth is to pacify us, to make us think that, oh, you know, we celebrating what was before. Now we making progress because, you know, America recognizes that it had to put an end to slavery. And, you know, we celebrating the time that slavery was ended, which slavery is not ended here in America. We still are the slaves. We still are the oppressed. We still are the nation not desired. Go ahead.
The book of Amos, chapter 1, verse 11. Thus saith the Most High, for thee, Salah, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a good one. This is a good one right here. We ended on a good note. These 3 transgressions that Edom committed, and this last 4th one, the Lord said, yeah, I'm going to get you good. I will not turn away the punishment. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword. Because
at one time, Esau, the nation of Edom, came from the progenitor Esau. Esau was the start of that nation of Edom. That's the progenitor of Edom is Esau. And Esau, you know what I'm saying? This whole nation that became Edom did pursue us with the sword. Right. You understand? There was a time when our nation was passing through the territory of the Edomites, and we requested from Edom that we get safe passage through their land. We wasn't going to stop. We wasn't going to settle. We just was wanting passage, safe passage through. And Edom, as we passed through, came and attacked us from the back and started killing off our women and children and our old. And the army went forward. Just imagine a nation of millions of people in a large caravan. You got hundreds of thousands and many people traveling in a large caravan where the army goes first to make sure that the way is clear. The women and children and all the rest of the citizens, the old, the ones that can't fight, they come behind. You understand? Well, Edom was so slick and so deceptive where they waited for the army to pass by and went around to the back of us and started to slaughter us at the back where the army could not see. Started slaughtering our women and children and our young and our old women and our old men and our forefathers. And that's the kind of enemy that you're dealing with, right, that doesn't regard the defenseless. Won't stop killing you because you don't have a defense. That's who you're dealing with. You're not dealing with somebody that fights fair. That's what I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
So with a good precept, to enter to a strong man's house, you gotta bind him up first.
Well, this is not binding the strong man. You know what I'm saying? They just snuck past the shit. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even fight the strong man. They didn't even try to bind the strong man. They stuck around to the back of our camp and started slaughtering us at the back. You know what I'm saying? So that you like I said, you're not dealing with an enemy that's fighting fair. You know what I'm saying? A way to think about it is pushing drugs in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? After we get high, then they come and arrest us. Well, they the ones that pushed it on us. You see what I'm saying? They like the so-called oppressor makes laws so he can come and make you a criminal. Because he knows that if you are a criminal, then what? He can put you back in slavery. You see what I'm saying? That's what the 14th Amendment was all about. It abolishes slavery except for criminals. You understand? So what did he do? He put that in there and said that slavery is abolished. We start to celebrate, yay, slavery is abolished. And then what he starts to do is starts to write laws that make black people a criminal. He started to write laws saying you got to have a license to drive a car. You understand? You can't just learn how to drive a car. You got to have a work permit. If you don't have a work permit, then you know what I'm saying? You can't. If you get caught working without a work permit, then we could lock you up on the border. You understand? We could deport you. If you speed down the highway and get pulled over and your license tag expired, you could go to jail. You see what I'm saying? Like all these laws here in America, stop and frisk. A cop can see this sister right here and say, you know what? I think that headdress might have some drugs in there. Probable cause. Stop her and frisk her for no reason. And plant the drugs in her hair. Now she's a criminal. She got to go to jail. Can see this sister here and say, well, you know what? Yeah, I think you hiding something up under there. It's too many clothes. Too many clothes. Got on too many clothes. There's too many clothes there. Frisk you, plant some weed on you, plant some weed in your pocketbook. Now you got to go to jail because you're a criminal. And what can happen? Because now you're a criminal. You're back in slavery. You're back in the system. You understand? Put you at nonviolent crime, put you in a holding cell, or give you 60 days with possession of a narcotic or possession of marijuana. Put you 60 days and put you in gin pop with killers, with known criminals, where you have to protect yourself. And you have to protect yourself. You understand? So now you get caught up in a fight, you get 90 days add on to your sentence. Well, you got to protect yourself. Now you got 150 days now. You understand? In the system. Well, you got to protect yourself the next day. Because these people that you got to fight with, it ain't over. So now you in the cell with a shift. You in the cell with a shake. You stab somebody, 5 years onto your sentence. Now there you go. If they kill you, got life. There you go. There's a slave. Go ahead.
It's a lot. It's so wicked too. Like they'll put you in those situations too. Like if you a gang member,
right?
It's in your blood,
right?
And if you curse the police out. I'll put you
in a cell with the Crips. Right.
That's how they do it.
That's what?
Politics.
That's who?
Politics.
No sweat. Go last one definitely. Go to Daniel 8:25. I'm gonna cut this mic off after this.
From God, Daniel chapter 8, verse 25. And through his policy.
Through his what?
And through his policy.
Through his politics, his policies. Go ahead.
Also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hands.
It's crafty to put blood in the jail cell with a Crip. Right. They kill each other. You don't have to kill them then, do you? Right. He shall cause craft to prosper in his hands, man. You understand? But we got Juneteenth. Yay! You understand? We living in a post-racial era. With that, pass the class over to precinct officer K. out of room.
It's Isupk security announcements. We are the Isupk under Commander General Yahan, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be excluded only. They hit shed themselves in the word. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means tenth in the Hebrew. Mayasharah, 10% of every penny of every increase. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation.
Upcoming holy convocations, not Juneteenth. You understand? We don't celebrate Juneteenth. I don't know what the hell that is. It's the end of the Feast of First Fruits. It is June the 20th. It's June the 20th, and as the time gets closer, we'll get more information on it.
If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boot, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, I admire you, which means everybody stand and adhere. Wapanya Aquadon, which means everybody face the east. The east will be this way. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanah, Shabbat Shamadi, Kodah, Ayah, Shamkah, Yahweh, Malakukah, Taba'ah, Rakazakah, Ayah, Aisha, Barakazah, Kawah, Ayah, Ashamai, Thurs, Lakom, Ka, Yawon, Wasalak now, Kabawak now, Kasalak now, Kabawak now, Wala'ah, Tabiah now, Balasayawon, Abol, Abashah now, Mayon, Ra, Kayo, Lakah, Amalak, Wa'al, Wa'apara, La'abilum, Amon.
In English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it.
So, turn. Sisters, the Shah, which means please be seated. When Israel saw, when Israel gave one purpose to the teacher. When Israel, Mashba, Amad, Ra, Yahweh Shabbat, Sisters, Amad, which means we stand. When Israel saw, when Israel gave one purpose to the sister. When Israel, Mashba, Amad, Ra, Yahweh Shabbat, God in the top class is with.